Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. This is Deep Cuts Reactions and my name's Greg, and I thought I would play some Woody Guthrie. There's not much more Oklahoman than that, you know. I mean, he was one of our favorite sons. Of course, it took many decades for conservative Oklahoma to recognize that he was a great son of ours, you know, because he was, I mean, he was a great folk singer, wrote a lot of songs, but he was definitely a political activist. And of course, they called him a communist and all this stuff. And so the town where he was born really didn't care for him much for a long time. But anyway, this is about the Dust Bowl. He wrote a lot of songs about the Dust Bowl because it was one of the defining things here in Oklahoma back in the 30s. They had I guess late 20s, they had gone in and did what they call sod busting, where they took the virgin territory out in the Panhandle and other parts of Oklahoma and plowed it for the first time and removed all those native plants, you know, which, I mean, the whole root structure on those went about 6 feet deep, you know, so they'd have to break out big chunks of that stuff, and they'd actually build houses out of them called, you know, soddies or sod houses, and it was pretty cool. But anyway, you know, they did all that and really screwed up the land, and everything was fine as long as it rained. And then it didn't. And all of a sudden, all that dried up and blew away, and uh, they're still they're doing it up in Illinois right now, which is insane to me because there are ways to prevent it. So anyway, let's go ahead and listen to Woody Guthrie, Talkin' Dust Bowl Blues.
Back in 1927, I had a little farm and I called that heaven. Well, the price is up and the rain come down and I hauled my crops all into town. I got the money, bought clothes and groceries, fed the kids and raised the family. Rain quit and the wind got high and a black old dust storm filled the sky, and I swapped my farm for a Ford machine and I poured it full of this gasoline and I started rocking and rolling over the mountains out towards the old Peach Bowl. Way up yonder on a mountain road, I had a hot motor and a heavy load. I was going pretty fast, I wasn't even stopping, bouncing up and down like popcorn popping, had a breakdown. I'm sort of a nervous bust down of some kind. There was a feller there, mechanic feller, said it was engine trouble. Way up yonder on a mountain curve, it's way up yonder in the piney wood, and I give that rolling Ford a shove, and I was going to coast as far as I could. Commenced coasting, picking up speed. Was a hairpin turn. I didn't make it. Man alive, I'm a-telling you, the fiddles and the guitars really flew. That Ford took off like a flying squirrel, and it flew halfway around the world. Scattered wives and children's all over the side of that mountain. We got out to the west coast broke, so dadgum hungry I thought I'd croak, and I bummed up a spud or two, and my wife fixed up a tater stew. We poured the kids full of it. Mighty thin stew, though, you could read a magazine right through it. Always have figured that if it had been just a little bit thinner, some of these here politicians could have seen through it.
Well, some mighty fine picking there. You know, and he was talking about man, it was a great migration because, you know, the dust was so thick that it'd almost bury a house, you know. I mean, it was crazy. And you couldn't raise a crop and you were starving. Plus, it was the Depression, you know. So it was things for the shits. And uh, man, this great mass of Okies and folks from Arkansas and Texas. They all took off to California, which sounded like the land of milk and honey, and they could grow crops there and all that. But when they got there, nobody wanted them, and there was no work, so a lot of them did settle there. And I don't know, man. Once when I was out in California, I guess it was back in the '60s or early '70s or something, But I'm touring along the freeway in my little red Volkswagen, and I hear this honking back behind me. Somebody's just honking, honk, honk the horn. I look over, and she pulls up beside me and rolls down the window and yells, "Where are you from in Oklahoma?" you know, because her family were, Dust Bowl refugees and, Okies that had moved to California and stayed, and that was part of their family history. So she was pretty excited to see another Okie out there. But anyway, I hope you guys like that. That's about as Okie as it gets. So I'll be back, and hit like, subscribe. We'll see you all then. Bye bye.